What's going on, guys? I have brought back Dan the man, the head of data of STR Search. We ripped for 2 hours like a month ago about Airbnb data because there's nobody else in this industry that I can talk about data as much as when it comes to Dan. And Dan obviously is doing a ton of research for STR Search right now, and he's constantly looking at Airbnb listings just like I am. And Dan reached out to me to do a rank video based off of fire pits and how well they're actually put together. So we're going to take an amenity that is one of the main amenities that people get within their Airbnbs. And we're going to try to explain to you how big of a difference it can make to your revenue based off of how you put it together. But we're going to have a little fun with it. So Dan, like explain this rank video a little bit more because
Yeah.
I'm even
So
new
if
to
you
this.
if
So
you're in the gaming world, you know what a tier list is. We rank things. We talk about what S, A, B, C, D, E, F tier. So we're gonna do that with fire pits. And through working with John at STR Search, I've seen 1,000 fire pits, and it's been pissing me off when I see bad fire pits enough. And I'm certain that the better the fire pit, the more revenue you generate. And I think I have the data to prove it.
yeah.
But today we're going to rank fire pits and look through the data of revenue afterwards
All
within
right.
a very specific area within the same size house.
Yeah. So we're also probably going to hurt some people's feelings. So we do apologize beforehand. Just know this is all with love. What we were doing right now, we're going to be a little harsh on it, but in the reality is that if you fall into that category, you just got to own up and be like, okay, I should fix this, right? So you'll see what we mean once we get to it. But Dan, why don't you share your screen? We'll get going.
Let's get going then.
All right. So show the list so people can see this because I've seen it pop up on like Instagram,
So this
TikTok,
is a
stuff like
tier
that.
list, right? We're
Yeah.
putting things in S, A, B, C, D. We're going to try to
Yeah.
sort these fire pits from Tobyhanna, Pennsylvania, into their tiers today. And then
Yeah.
we're going to look at the categorized data about how much each tier earns and what the difference is.
So before we get started, go back up to that tier list because this is something that I've been wanting to ask you and I genuinely did not know. What the hell does S mean?
S
Why
is the
is
special tier. So it's
special?
so
Okay.
far above. And like in Pokemon terms, S tier are the legendary Pokemon. They're so far
Okay.
above normal Pokemon that they're just in a class of their own. I don't know
Okay.
why the letters don't start with A, but it starts with S.
All right, sounds good. I kind of like that the S is up there, but I've been watching a few of these and I'm like, I've got to figure out what this is. All right. So let's zoom in a little bit so we can get a better look at these fire pits. And let's just rip one by one and figure out where we're going to go. I love that this is the first one.
Top left. What do you think about this one? No chairs. We have some framing and some gravel and a shitty fire pit.
Yeah. So you guys, if you're watching this, we know this is small. We're doing our best to be able to see it. But that fire pit quite literally does not have a single chair around it. It has gravel, which is,
yes. I ranked this as an F, but there was no F tier on this tier list. It's clearly a D. It's the lowest tier.
If you don't have chairs, you're a D. It doesn't matter. I mean, good for you for the gravel, but you're a D. The next one, what do we got?
We got plastic chairs, but we do have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 of them, and a little bit of landscaping around it and some string.
It's a nice little circle around. They've also got the hanging lights out in the distance. See, so the only fault here is the plastic chairs, I would say. That and also they didn't edit the photo to show like the flame coming up.
The photo is poor.
Right.
And the plastic chairs are poor. Plastic chairs for me generally get a C tier, but I think I would almost give them a B tier because of the landscaping.
Genuinely gonna say I was gonna say B because they missed the mark on the lights, they missed the mark on the editing, they missed the mark on a few things. So I say B as well.
B. Done.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on B.
Next, we have a non-Adirondack chair. We have these black chairs around a rusted fire pit with gravel.
Now, keep in mind, there's two different styles of chairs here, right? And the whole backyard is gravel, so it's not like it's just that one specific area of gravel,
That's true. We have 4 Adirondack chairs and 4 whatever these are.
And then there's the photo's not edited. There's no lights around it.
I think we're in B tier. I think
we're in B tier as well, which is kind of crazy because that last
one, like a low A, high B.
I would say low B, high C, to be honest.
Yeah, especially because of the photo.
The photo is actually what's helping it a ton right now. So just to point out, the height of the photo is like where your eyes would be if you're sitting in that chair. And that's what kind of makes it more desirable, right? And they got the wood in there too, which helps, and it's showing the house. So I'd give it a B, but definitely not an A.
Okay, now we have some $400 Adirondack chairs, not the $30 plastic ones, but we only
Right.
have 5 of them in a 4-bedroom. That
Yeah.
is probably an 8 to 10 person property.
Yeah. Also, I know we mentioned this a couple times that these are all 4 bedrooms in the exact same market. So these should be like apples to apples comparison. I think there's not enough chairs, but it does like I want to say C just because I'm annoyed that it doesn't have enough chairs, right? Even if they had like logs around there or something, but
To me, if you use at least 4 of these $400 chairs and you have landscaping, I want to give you a B.
okay. I'm
Because
I'm
you
I'm
also
I'm
could
right
rank
on the
these
edge
by
there
how
with
much
you.
money they spent on this, and this is like a $1,000 to $2,000 fire pit.
Well, I wouldn't even say it's about the amount of money. It's more just that it's very clearly well put together, right? They got the nice circle around there. The fire pit is nice. The chairs are nice. It's just
How
they're
about we
missing a
leave
lot.
them
I
in a
mean,
B? It's like a
yeah,
high
throw them
B
in B.
almost,
Throw them
or
in B. Throw them in B. We're gonna have
throw
quite
them
a
in
few
B.
Bs here. No one's hitting A.
I like this one, even though this blue one, even though the landscaping is not that great, it matches the color of the house, and they're all high quality.
Are you trying to say A on this one?
I don't know. I don't know. It may be a B, but
See, I would. Okay, so the thing is, the next one that we're gonna come into, I don't think it's
don't look
A.
forward.
I think
Only
it's. I
look at our
still think
current
it's C.
one.
It's missing. It's missing the hanging lights, right?
Yes.
It's missing the
It's
edited
not too much.
photo.
It's not too different from this black one,
It's not.
actually.
It really isn't. Yeah,
It's the
yeah.
same
It's actually
photo,
almost spot on. I wouldn't even be surprised if it was the
same
same
shape
photographer.
house, same
Yeah,
photo.
yeah. Probably the
Okay,
same
so
owners.
this next one, this has the pergola kind of built around it with hanging chairs. We have 3 hanging chairs and a bench.
Is there? That was the best photo of it, eh? Of
But
that
that
fire
was the
pit.
best I could find. They did not have good marketing of this. And because
Uh,
of that, I
yeah.
think this is kind of an A tier fire
Ooh.
pit. But it
So
could
you're
be a
saying if
B.
it was, you're saying if it did have better photos, you could see it being in the S tier.
This is actually a fire pit design I've seen all over Tobyhanna. If you look at the 5 bedrooms there, someone made this and then everybody else started copying everybody else. It's just
Gotcha.
this arms race of amenities.
How
I like this though. I like the
see,
structure around the fire pit, even though the
here's
photo's bad.
my complaint. I've thought about this a lot. I grew up camping, right? And when you have a fire, you move your chair closer and further depending on how big the fire is because the logs start to burn out and you're like, I'm
Okay.
getting a little colder. I gotta get a little closer. And then
Okay.
you throw more on, you gotta back up a little bit. I feel like those setups are impractical. They look good
Hmm.
though. So
Hmm.
yeah, that's right. Like I'm just I
What about
with
if
that
it's just a
being
propane fireplace element? It's not getting hotter or colder. It's staying the same thing.
but that's not the case for this one, right?
It's not the
And
case.
also, who wants a propane fire pit when you're out in the middle of Tobyhanna
Well,
in
people
Pocono?
in Colorado have to have it because they're going to burn down my whole house if
Well,
I
that's
give
a
them
different
open fire.
scenario altogether.
So
That's
what do you think? Are we good on
I'm
A here, or do you
I'm
think
good
we're in
on
the
A.
B
I'm
tier?
good on A. I'm good on A.
Okay.
I think there's ways that you could turn that into an S
So
easily.
I know you've seen these chairs here. The next one in
Yeah.
TechVestor, I know they've used them before. What is your opinion on these chairs?
Okay, so practically, I think that they have faults, right? There's no armrests.
No
There's no
armrests,
place for
yes.
the drinks. There's nothing like that. But they're this style that people like, which is
Visually, they look modern and
right. Yeah.
interesting.
I at one point I was pushing for them, and then the more I pushed for them, the more I realized like I just don't think these make sense long term,
We
right?
have 11 of them. It's on
Yeah.
gravel. There's wood. There's really well edited photo with the edited sunset and the
I mean,
overexposed string lights.
this
I
has
almost
to
feel
be
like
an S,
this is an
right?
S tier. This is
It
definitely
has to be
the
because it has each of the elements that you need it to have.
yes,
If we're gonna give that one just below an A, that one has to be an S because you got the
correct.
stylish chair. Even though they're not extremely practical, people still like them because they're the cool new version, right? So it helps with the bookings.
Okay, now give me this next one. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 plastic chairs with string lights in the wrong time of day with no fire going.
I mean, you got to throw it in B. That's our rule of thumb. It seems like,
To me,
right?
this is like a C tier. This is
Really,
below
but it's
'cause
got the string, but the string lights, the setup of the
but
string
I
lights,
guess this is the
like
combination of the marketing and the fire pit quality because like this B up here has string lights, has more chairs, has better boundaries on
right,
it.
right, yeah.
I almost put
You're
every
okay.
time I
Good.
see these plastic chairs without good marketing in C. That was my initial cut of
That's
this.
fair. I just almost feel bad for this person because those putting up those polls is not an easy thing to do, and they would have
No.
spent a whack load of time doing that just to throw up the
Why don't
plastic
they have a
chairs.
photo of it at twilight? Like, what's going on? Like, one of the biggest mistake people are making is the fires are only on in 30% of these. You know, the photos are
People,
at the wrong time of day.
people, go to Fiverr.com and it's $5 to get that photo edited, and you can have that beautiful photo. Let's go to this next one though.
Interesting
So
one.
I was about to throw it into S, and then I looked a little closer because why is half the photo cut off?
The photo is bad. The framing of the fire pit is bad.
Ah,
It shows up at the end of a listing, and the listing doesn't make that much money. I had to search in their listing
no
for this fire
way.
pit. And I
And
don't
that
know
stands
about
out.
these
It's got
basket chairs and
is
these
that
stools.
sand as well?
Sorry?
Is that sand in that circle?
I think this is gravel with flagstones.
Okay. What are you thinking?
I mean, I'm thinking this is kind of a B or a C. Like, I think it fits.
Really?
I mean, the photo is so bad. It's not a D,
See,
right?
you went through and saw this listing. I was gonna put it closer to an A. I think the hanging lights really do it for me. It's also outlined.
Yes.
And it does have the more unique chairs. Now, mind you, the
I'll give you
Adirondack
that.
chair, right? Like that's my thought. But the problem is that you're right. Like if it's at the bottom of the listing, that's a big deal. And then it also cuts off part of the photo. That's also a big
If
deal.
the photo was better, if it was centered, and if it was a professional photo, I'd be like, yeah, like they put enough money and it looks
Right.
quality enough. But I think this is a borderline B or
I
A because of
I
the
think it's got to
marketing.
go B. It's got to go B, just like the very first one there, right?
Yes.
Because it had the hanging lights and
Because marketing matters. Like we're building a
right.
fire pit so we can show it off to people. And if
Yes,
we can't show it
exactly,
off
right?
well, it's useless.
Yes. So it's
And the
not
and the
just
light it's also not on the flame, and this flame is on, this flame is
true.
on.
True. Good point. Okay.
We have no
Yeah.
bees with flame ons. No one like below
You
A
don't
has
get
a
into the A
flame.
category without the flames, you know?
Okay, now we have a flame
Yeah,
on. We
this
have
is this
four
is
of the red chairs, which I love the red chairs.
yeah, you're a big fan of the red chairs. You have them at your own Airbnb as well. They do
Correct.
stand out nicely. I fully agree with that. It goes with the suiting of the fire. You know what I mean? That red look.
Yes.
I mean, to me, this is an obvious S, right? So it's got
The only reason that gives me pause is the number of chairs. And my biggest pet
that
peeve in a fire pit, you all want to sit together.
yeah,
And if
yeah,
we have an 8-person property and 4 of you off roasting marshmallows, the rest of us are jealous.
yeah. I agree. I agree. Or if you're roasting marshmallows, rest of our jealous.
I want to roast marshmallows. Like,
Yeah,
what the heck? I don't want to sit on a stump.
You threw it in the A column.
Yeah, we're in
Okay.
A. It's
Okay,
clearly
I
the
agree.
fire's on.
I
And
agree.
we're using expensive chairs.
If this is a 2-bedroom, that's an S,
Yes.
right? Or a 1-bedroom, that's an S all day.
But
This
is
one
4-bedroom.
here,
What do we got?
this next one, I want to put it in D.
Yeah,
I mean, you got
I
4
say
plastic
D.
chairs.
We're on
You're,
grass.
you're showing the shed. You know what I mean? Like the shed behind it's killing it for me.
Killing it.
Yeah.
And we have 4 plastic chairs instead of 8. Like you can go
Right.
up a tier just by doubling
Yes.
these $30 chairs. And these
This
chairs
guy-
break so easily, and it's a terrible experience when they break.
True, bad investment, honestly, in the long run of things. But the funny part about this is this one is competing with the place that has no chairs.
Yeah, right. Right. I mean, if there was an F tier, this one would be an F tier, and this would be D
that's
tier.
true. That's a good point. Good point.
Okay, so now we have another one of these pergola ones, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4 hanging benches and 4 Adirondack chairs that you can move back and forth, John.
But okay. Why is there
And the fire
swings
is
on-
on barely.
I mean the setup is an A level, right? The execution of the photos is not.
Yes.
But I do like the fact that they have the additional chairs in there. I would be fine putting in the A category.
I think if
it's
they
much
had
better.
string lights and a twilight shot, I would give you an S.
Couple more angles, maybe a better close-up one,
They
maybe
even
more
have the
at eye
hammocks
level.
right next to it that add more occupancy and seating near it. So it's
Right.
cool.
What's weird though is they have the hanging chairs on some of the sides of that octagon, but not all of them.
Yeah,
For
it's
some
weird
reason-
that they put these like
Yeah.
closed off. They should 1, 2, 3, 4.
Weird, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a solid setup, but if they put a little bit of like rocks around there to kind of seal it off too, like
Yeah,
it,
it's a
right?
lazy boundary. I don't like lazy
Yeah,
boundaries. I want hard boundaries.
they make it makes a difference. It makes it its own space. It's like that is the
It's like
fire pit
clean
space.
lines versus fuzzy
Yeah,
lines of grass and
yeah,
and
and
it's like I
it's
don't even think they used the fabric underneath the gravel to
you
make
can
sure
see the
plants
grass
don't
coming
grow.
up. Well, the more we talk about this, man, the more I feel like it needs to go to B.
I know
But
it's painful to put this one into B though because they
uh,
put so much effort into it, and
I
like this
know,
house is sweet with a fire
but
pit built
you
into the
could
deck.
say
I
you
mean
could
the
say the
hot
person to the right with the blue chairs and the surrounding and everything put a
almost
lot of
looks
effort into
better.
theirs too.
Almost looks better.
It does,
Yeah.
yeah, right. I almost feel,
Right.
especially with I'm saying officially B. The more we talk about it, because
Yeah.
the photo is actually from taken from the back like that,
So
almost
back.
feels weird.
Yeah.
I say
Bad
this,
angle, bad lighting.
yeah,
The flame is barely on. Yeah, unless
yeah.
your flame is really on, I can't give you an A. I'm sorry.
The flames being cut out by the random piece of wood that's there. So
Okay, I
anyway,
got two winter ones for you. I
yeah,
got
those are
these metal
easy D's,
benches.
easy D's. I
Easy
don't know
D.
about you, but those are D's all day,
That's a
right? Like,
D. That's a D.
yeah, because who is sitting? Who wants like? Again, you go to these fireplace, you're sitting out there for hours when you're at a fire pit, right?
Yes.
At least me and my friends. My one friend is such a freaking weirdo. Whenever we go and sit around a fire, he has to be the last one to leave, and he will sleep out there if he has to. It's just like something about him. He makes it a competition every single time. He's like, I just love it so much. And I'm like, all right, weirdo, but
This is lazy though. They're taking the shots in winter,
no,
and they
not.
have cheap fire pit setups,
Yep,
and
yep,
string lights are not on, and the fire
yep.
pits are not on.
That's part of the marketing, right? You can have this over the winter. That's fine. Show it off. It kind of makes it like, hey, you can go outside, have a fire in the winter if you want to, but you got to change it. We're in the middle of summer right now. It's August 2nd,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it's got to be seasonal, and just the vibe and the emotion that comes out looking at these versus looking at these. It just
Yes.
changes how much you want to rent this place and buy it without knowing anything else
This,
about it.
having these set up ranked like this, it is actually making it very clear the differences between these. The more we go through this,
Okay, so let's keep going. We got nice $400 chairs, 4 of them with 2 weird black chairs, and we got a little flame. Little flame.
I mean, I don't know, B maybe.
I
I
think we're
maybe
solid
C.
B tier. Maybe
You think
C, you're
so?
right. The
I
photo with
think
the hammock.
C.
The hammock being featured in this is killing me right now.
I feel like that is kind of making it a little bit, but at the
Hmm.
same time, it's like
It's
poor
detracting it, but
execution.
it's showing something else.
Right, right. And if this is their own, like you went through all this and found their best photo of the fire pit, and like this would be their best one, right?
This is the
So
best they got. This is the
yeah,
best
so
shot.
then that's a C all day. It's the same idea
Yeah.
as this other C where it's you've got the things, you just didn't execute, right?
Right.
So yeah, all right, let's keep going.
Now we got a concrete pad, fires on, but 4 plastic chairs with an edited
Throw it
sunset.
straight into B. Straight into
Yeah.
B. They did a good job. They just missed the mark, right?
They missed the mark. They just like you
Yeah.
could have just bought $1,000 or $2 worth of nice chairs, and somebody would give
Yeah.
you more money per night.
It makes it like you like there's a specific sunbathing chair that we purchased because it perceives the property to be worth more, right?
Yeah.
So it does matter. All right, what do we got this next one at?
We got this crappy fire pit, zoomed out photo, string lights.
Oh my god, I love the look, but I hate but
I gotta
I'm
go
bothered.
D. Because the quality of the photo, I
D?
gotta go D or maybe
No,
C.
we gotta go C. We got
Okay.
it. It's got the hang lights. It's got the fire going.
But it's like I'm looking at a fire pit a mile away, and like
I think those lights are super cool. That are
true.
helping
String
with
lights
this.
moved you from a D to a C.
I think so. Yeah, but
Or maybe even
if
without
those,
them, it could be a C.
again, anyone watching this who's like, "What are you talking about?" There is not a better photo, right? There's not a better photo.
This is the best they got in their
If
listing
you
of this
can't
fire
take a
pit.
photo of an amenity from 20 feet away and call it a good amenity photo,
Yeah,
right?
there's a good way to angle these photos clearly. Like
Yes.
the S1, A1, and then
Yeah.
there's just a really bad way to angle these photos.
Yes. All right, let's keep ripping. This next
What we
one
got?
here.
We got a feeder, a water tank with 6 light
Yeah.
blue plastic chairs.
I mean, I feel like it's a D.
D. It's a solid D.
Maybe, yeah, solid D. I think our
End of
next one
story.
here.
I think I duplicated one of them. So
You
I'm gonna
did,
put
yeah.
this
We'll just
one back
ignore
to
that
the
one.
end.
We'll ignore
What
that
about
one.
this one? We have the $400 chairs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We built a fire pit. We got the flame, but we have no boundary The photo is not that great.
I would say, okay, so here's my take on this one though, real quick, before we move this, is that you've got a massive backyard. So a boundary
Yeah.
actually doesn't make sense here. You want it to be more free flowing, right? So you either go boundary or no boundary. And I feel like for this one, a boundary would kind of be silly, like that far away, because do you know what I mean? Like if you have this massive space, why would you make it
I mean, I'm a
feel
boundary
close
guy.
off,
I like a boundary, but I see what you're saying. Keep
right?
it melding into the yard.
Now, I think it's still not a like it's not a great photo. It's not a terrible photo. I mean, like they didn't rake the leaves what it looks like all the way around and
I
stuff like
can't
that.
give
But
you an A for this, even though we got
no,
this. I
no.
have to put you into the B category here.
I mean, like I was thinking B to C on that one. It's a weird. It's weird. Like
I
I
just the
almost don't
money they
want.
put into it. I can feel that it's like
Right,
$2,000, and I don't want to give you a
right.
C for $2,000.
But like personally, I like that fire pit. So that's the thing. So like
Yes,
me seeing really nice chairs, a good solid, so a good amount of chairs, a good type of chairs, a nice fire pit structure, and you have this nice big yard. To me, I'm like, that's nice, right? I'm gonna walk to the back of the yard. I'm gonna go sit back there for the evening and have a fire. It's not too close to the house. Like it makes sense. I give it a B ranking. I
but
give it a
we're
B.
literally just being zoomed in with an edited sunset away from giving you an A and having this be
Right.
worth more money to you.
Right. That and maybe some string lights in the tree, even in the trees in the distance or something. You know what I mean?
Something that
Yeah.
makes this not a cell phone bad
Yeah.
photo or something.
That's you're $5 away.
All right, here we go.
$5
Here we go. We
away.
got an easy one for you.
Yeah. Throw it to the D. Let's go to the next one. You know what I mean?
This is a cool one. We got the wood barrier. These are plastic chairs,
But
but they have a couple of nice ones mixed with bad ones, it looks like.
Okay, so take your mouse off of it for a second because it actually darkens the photo a little bit, I think.
Okay.
I think. Maybe
No,
not.
I think
Maybe
I
I'm
think it's
wrong.
just a dark photo.
I mean I gotta throw it in C because I can't see shit. I think it's like
Yeah, you
it's
framed it
hard.
poorly. I couldn't find a better photo, but I want to give them a B for this because the flame is on. We have string lights, and half of them are nice.
But you're saying that's the best. Now, did this entire listing have these types of photos where it was
This
kind of
listing
like,
had pretty good photos. It was missing the mark just like this one does slightly. But
and
like
those are
it was
not,
way better than
they're
the rest of these listings, except for the bottom one you see.
okay. Are those blue ones not, are they plastic or not plastic? I know
We
you
got
said it, but I
one
missed it.
plastic, two plastic, three plastics, and 1, 2, 3, 4 $400 ones. So we're mixing, just like the bottom left one, we're mixing nice and plastic. And I think that's gross. Don't mix nice and not nice chairs.
In my head, I'm like, they're getting halfway there. And you go gross.
Gross.
Where do you want to put it?
I mean, I feel like it's in the B category. I feel like it can stand up in these. It's got aspects of an A, but it's missing the mark a little bit.
I'm giving it a B minus in my mind, like C plus, honestly. But we'll
B
throw
and
B.
C are tough, honestly.
Yeah, they're very. There's like it's like the tiniest little things about the differences between those
All right,
two.
we have 5 different color chairs or 4 different colors. Grass.
You know what I do like about this is the height of the photo and the fact that they put all the chairs on the one side to kind of show it off. So you're not looking at the back of a chair.
I don't think we're in D tier. I think we're low C tier.
I think you're like a C minus, but I still
you're winning. You're beating this shed one definitely.
Yes, yeah,
not by much though.
You think about that. A couple like they moved the chairs, and then all of a sudden they're in the C category because it's just like
they have the same fire pit that they're using too.
Yeah.
It's just a very small upgrade.
The colors kind of like bounce around. It's not two reds beside each other, stuff like that.
Yeah, and like this tan is just not working for me down here. The colors bumped you up a notch.
I think the tan would work great if they were just to reorganize it. But anyways, let's keep ripping. We got a couple.
All right, we got another D, another
and then
obvious.
We're gonna get into the data.
This is a bad one.
Yeah, that's there's a couple F's in those D's. Let's just be clear.
And the very last one, other than the duplicate, is this 4 brown ones and 4 red ones. This listing actually had 4 pictures of this fire pit. Half the time the red ones were in there, half the time they were not, and one time it was all 8 red ones. I was very confused.
Oh, interesting. All right. Well, I think C, like it's definitely not D, right?
Yeah.
It falls within that same general category.
Okay, now let's zoom out and let's take stock. We have categorized everything.
It's so clear when you put it this way, right?
So clear. And now the most important thing about this is, does a better fire pit lead to more revenue? And this is hard because a fire pit is not better in isolation. When your fire pit's better, your whole listing's better. But I have pre-ranked all of my fire pits before we did this. I went through this a little bit different than what we did now. Not very different. All Toby Hana 4 bedrooms, and I've pivoted it into the average revenue and the number of listings that fall into it, revenue versus average. And so
Well,
my insights are it's almost a straight line down, going from S to A.
are you showing you're not we're still in the ranking, just so you know.
Oh, okay. 1 second.
Yeah.
Share this
No worries.
tab instead. Okay,
There we
sorry. I
go.
switched now.
And blow it up as much as you can. Go as big as you possibly can. Full screen if you can. Yeah.
How's
Beautiful.
this?
Yep. Beautiful. We can see it much
So
better now.
S tier fire pits, there's 3 of them when I graded it originally, and I had 94K as the average revenue. There were 5 A's. I had it in 86K average. B and C, almost every time I found plastic, I graded it in C. I think I was a little harsh after you and I went through it. I
Yeah.
mostly graded people as C, but
The
you can
amount of
see
just so
the
everyone knows,
difference in revenue.
the amount of times that you have complained about plastic chairs to me is hilarious.
It's
Like, just
it's the I don't know, thorn in my side of my life is plastic chairs.
throws them into the group chat constantly, going, "I freaking hate these plastic chairs."
So the average 4 bedroom in Toby Hana earns $60,000, and if you have a C tier or higher, you're likely
Yeah.
to beat that average. And if you have a D or F tier we didn't even have, but you clearly
Yeah.
can see which ones were. It's not even worth having a fire pit if you're gonna do the D and the F tier. Don't
Which
even
is
do it.
which is wild to think that if you did, you could just not have put out the chairs there. You should have not put the effort into doing what you did because it didn't make a difference whatsoever, right?
Yeah, you should have just
So-
had a different amenity instead of that fire pit with no chairs. Like there's
right.
just
So
no point.
what I want to stress here, guys, if you're looking at this, is you're thinking to yourself like, okay, like it makes, you're not just making more money because you have a nicer fire pit. You're making more money because everything that you did with your listing is better. So like, Dan, if you can open up
Yes.
one of those S tier ones, right? And we take a look at it, what you'll see is that
let's go to this one.
everything is better across the board. And so that's kind of what we're trying to say here is you can almost use that one as an indicator, because just that one simple thing will tell us how well you did everything else. And then we can
Yes.
categorize your entire listing into that. And again, we're only looking at 4 bedrooms in the exact same area, which allows us to be able to rank it in this way.
Yes.
It's not perfect. And I cannot stress
But
that
you're
enough.
right. The tier of the fire pit almost exactly matches the tier of your whole property. Because if you're not putting any effort into your property, this is a huge effort property, right? And they have the best fire pit. But
Yeah.
if we switched over to a lower tier fire pit, everything else would be worse.
Yeah. Yeah. And go to one. Just go to the lowest, in the D or the F column. Ideally the F one, so we can get an idea of what that would look like in comparison.
So
And-
let's
and
go
got,
into
like-
the Ds here, and let me just pick one of the mid-tier Ds.
Yeah.
And let's go into it. First of all, we're not showing the fire pit off in our photos. Where is the fire pit? Here's the fire pit.
You know what's wild is that when you showed that listing at first, my first thought was like, that's not a terrible listing. I was expecting like 10 times worse, right? But
that is only a 53,000. They're 7K under average. It's because they're cheaping out on amenities. If you cheap out on amenities, people will not pay you what you want or what your competitors get.
Well, and think about what you were saying, right? That fire pit cost to upgrade it to make it look what it was looking like would be $1,000 to $2,000, and we're talking about a $7,000 difference in revenue. Now, I've said this so many times that you cannot directly know how much an amenity is going to drive for you. It's not a 1-for-1 because there's so many variables when it comes to this. But what we're trying to say is that there is a clear indicator to how well you do one thing. How you do something is how you do everything. I kind of live by that.
Yes.
Because if I'm sloppy with one thing, it's going to show up in everything else that I do as well. And so if you're just good and you put a lot of effort and focus and time into one thing, it'll also show up in everything else that you are doing at the same time.
Yes. And that is what we want to leave you all with, is that the quality of your amenities matter. There is a tier list to how good hot tubs, fire pits, pools, and if you guys wait, we'll come out with the full series. We'll do hot tubs next, game rooms next, pools.
Well, comment down below which one you want us to do next.
Yeah, what's the next amenity you think there should be a tier list for?
Yeah, also, if we're a little harsh, again, sorry, we apologize, but
If that was any of your fire pits, I'm sorry, but you needed to
yeah,
hear that.
yeah. What we're saying is put a little bit of money into it, and you're going to make a little bit more money, right? And that's pretty
All
much
right,
where
now
it
let's
goes.
do a shameless plug. We offer air optimization services. So if you have an Airbnb and you want me to grade and be harsh and rip apart the quality of your amenities and rank them, we're experts at helping you level it up and showing you what S tier things are and how you get there.
Yeah, pretty much. If you have a listing where it's not performing well and you need to increase your revenue and you want to throw like $5,000 to $10,000 at it, it's worth it to invest in an optimization report that we'll put together to make sure that you're taking that $5,000 to $10,000 and investing it in the best possible way to drive the most amount of revenue. So that's what we do. But however, one more shameless plug before we end this off. What we do best is actually find people properties. So if you want us to find you a property anywhere across the United States, and you have over $150,000 to invest into a property, and you want to take advantage of that STR tax loophole, schedule a call down below. Dan, this is
And we'll
awesome.
help you optimize the property
Of
that
course,
we
that's
find in
how
the
that just
optimal
comes along with
market,
it.
optimal location with S tier amenities.
Yes, S tier everything. All right, comment down below which one you want to see next, and we'll put it together. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate you doing this.
See you next time.
See you, man.